Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Anime Crackers.
Without the crackers, sadly.
No crackers, but you know what? I got candy.
You brought candy this time?
I brought candy.
Candy! Ah, finally, this time you bring snacks to my house.
Confused.
Get out.
So, yeah. Anyway, so we are back for another round of anime talk. You know, what's going on, what's the latest, and what's the greatest. Not necessarily greatest, but what's the latest out there. So I'm actually going to pick on you. What's the first thing you've been watching this week?
Okay, so if you guys didn't know, Mary and the Witch's Flower premiered, I think, last Thursday. It's in theaters now. You can watch either the dubbed or the sub version. I would say watch the sub, but either one will get you, the same point. I watched that movie in theaters on the premiere, and me and my friends, we got this commemorative pin. It was a great movie. It was, I can't remember what their studio name was, but it was from the people who came from Studio Ghibli. So if you like all of the Miyazaki films, this is pretty much sliding you right back into it. The art's similar, the vibe, the energy, and it's all great. So basically the story is about a girl who finds a flower, and if this flower leads to like accidental magics happening and her finding her way that there's another alternate universe for like supernatural things, which leads to a lot of like learning about her past, learning about her family's past, and just like a life lesson to be had, like typical Miyazaki Studio Ghibli kind of things.
Okay.
So that's awesome.
Was there any downside to watching it?
The only downside was watching the dubbed and the theater we were watching, because what happened was the theater started playing the subbed first, and then 30 minutes into the movie they realized that they were playing the wrong version, so they cut the movie off, right?
No!
And then they restarted it in English, so we had to start back over 30 minutes prior.
Which minutes of your life you can't get back.
Right, but it was okay because you had to get acclimated back to the dub voices, so it was fine.
Alright, so, and that's still in theaters. So
it's still in theaters.
It's a limited release or something like that?
No, it was just that one premiere like on a random Thursday, but now it's like in various theaters. Gotcha. I think a lot of AMC and Regal theaters, so yeah.
Okay, well my first pick this week, which you can find on Crunchyroll, because this is a relatively new show, is called Hakata, Tonkotsu, Ramens.
Ooh, look at you.
Okay. And it's a weird, well, not necessarily a weird concept. Well, we're talking about anime. Most of the stuff in anime is weird. It might be weird to a lot of Westerners. Actually, this is probably like right up my alley. Okay, so basically what it is, in the city of Hakata, in Hakata, there are like a high population of assassins. And this particular show, it is almost reminiscent of, not necessarily hard-boiled, but it's almost reminiscent of Sin City, where you got some really, really messed up people on this show. And something like this, I gave it a 3-episode try to see where it was going. So I watched the first 2 episodes last week. 3rd episode just dropped on Crunchyroll this week. So I said, well, okay, well, let's round it up. Because initially starting off, it seemed like there was like a whole lot of characters, and like, okay, I'm gonna have to keep a scorecard. But basically there's this one assassin who we find out is a cross-dresser. And basically he's trying to find whoever it was that murdered his sister. Come to find out it's the mayor's son. This is where we start to kind of dip a little bit into Sin City category. Because the son is crazy. He's psychopathically crazy. Because he gets off on killing women. So what's going
like a Ted
on?
Bundy kind of thing?
Yeah. So basically, it's like his handlers, which and I can't remember the name of the male and female because both of them are assassins as well. His handlers, what they've gotten down to is they're going out and getting women for him to kill, because he's one of those. He's a sloppy killer. He leaves traces. So not only that, you have this other guy named Banba, who was originally a target for one of the hitmen, and Jing Zhao Ming, which is the cross-dresser. He was about to go kill Banba, but come to find out, he got stiffed on his money. So he and Banba decided to team up. He's like, okay, until I get paid, I'm not killing nobody, but since you can help me. So it seems like it's a lot of moving parts if you watch the first episode, but as it goes a little further, it starts to flesh itself out a bit. And of course, there's a lot of intrigue, a lot of, double crosses and double crosses on top of double crosses and things of that sort. And even with the way the last episode ended, you know, I'm looking forward to the fourth one. The only minus, if there ever was a minus, is some people might find uncomfortable how they're treating women, because like I said, you know, you got this one character that's going out and killing the women. Even the one assassin that's playing the handler for the mayor's son, you know, how is she letting herself get wrapped up into it? But if you're not paying attention to that one, that might be one you need to look at.
Not too bad. I'm kind of curious on that one.
Yeah. So what else you looking at?
I'm looking at Devilman Crybaby. Right. Okay.
It's a hard watch for a lot of people.
Okay, so like, cause I got curious, cause I had, you know, just had to. I was like, okay, let's see what Netflix is, you know, has up their sleeve this time, cause you know I'm a fan of Voltron, Knights of Sidonia, so I'm like, okay, let's watch this. So mistake number one: watch the first episode of Work.
Don't do that.
Basically, this is very.
I made that mistake too.
So basically, there is a lot of nudity, a lot of sexual content, a lot of violence, real fast. Like not even like a subtle like, oh no, it's just like bam, here it is.
Do we classify this as hentai though?
No, like I personally don't classify this as hentai, but it was just the hype is real. I do like the storyline that's going. I'm only in episode 4 right now, but I do like where it's going. You know, I'm kind of curious. I love, because I haven't come from the first one or the manga, so it's like, so I'm taking the advice of someone who reviewed it saying basically if you watch this first, the manga will make a lot more sense. So I'm doing that, and it's like, so coming in fresh, it's kind of like, I see where the story's going. I do like Akira. I can't stand Rio. I'm concerned about Miki.
Rio's a business.
Oh, let's
He's
not.
A real business.
True. And I'm concerned about Miki. Like, this girl she's smart, but at the same time, she's very, like, and I'm like,
out there.
Right, I'm like, girl, that you can't, with the world of devils popping up randomly, you can't do this. So, I would totally say watch this, probably with either a good group of friends, probably not at work like me. And, you know, keep the volume moderate, because there is a lot of,
lot of that.
So, your neighbors might be concerned.
Yeah, really quick. Yeah, I made the mistake of watching it at work as well, but I didn't have the issue of having to worry about somebody walking in. But it's just one of those where you're just like, what am I watching on work hours? And, you know, maybe I should wait till I get home. And you know, the thing of it is, I remember watching it back in the day. I don't have a lot of memories of it. It was brutal back then, but nowhere near this level now. For those that forgot about it, there was also a live action version too. Yeah, it was a live action one way back when. Right, I think right around the time when CGI was just getting used. So it's like that balance of good CGI, bad CGI kind of.
Yes.
But.
Thank goodness Netflix lets you download these episodes to your phone. Because it's like, nope, no one can see me watching.
Yeah, because they'll have you sitting in the corner like this.
Like, ooh, okay now.
All right.
But what about you? What's next?
Okay, so next up is Record of Grancrest War. And now, a couple of the early reviews that I read, especially when it first aired, a lot of people were trying to compare it to Record of Lodoss War, since it's by pretty much the same company that did it.
Right.
And again, just to kind of get a grasp on it, I went back and I rewatched the old Record of Lodoss War, just to have like a bit of comparison. Now, Record of Lodoss War is more based off of an old Dungeons and Dragons campaign, because even if you watch the first episode, you have all the familiar tropes. You have the bard, the warrior, the elf, the dwarf, etc., and so forth going on a quest. That's just the first episode, so you have all that. The difference with Grancrest War is you still have some of the magic tropes, but it's totally different plot. I don't even think it's anywhere near related, but the plot of it is this. So it has more of a Game of Thrones kind of feel. So there are these two houses about to unify in marriage, and while the bride and groom are at the wedding, some demon from this other world called Chaos shows up and practically puts the smash on everybody there. So rather than unifying these two kingdoms and ending the war just continues. So out of that war, these warring houses, there comes this guy named Theo, who's just like this wandering lord, and then there's this mage called Saluka. And together they band up and, you know, they go it's just really random how they just go up against this other lord who has all these lands, and they go to fight him and they defeat him, and then Theo gets this crest, and the crest grants him lordship over that area. So, you know, he's going out and fighting, then you have these other members that come along and join up. So, you know, you start having almost that tropey feel again where you have, you know, mages and dwarves and elves, everybody's kind of popping up and everybody has abilities. You have this one guy who can turn himself into stone, and you have this other character, when she flips out, you know, it's fun. Here's the thing, it is a fun watch, because even like with the first episode, you may not feel like, it's there, but it's not. But things get real, really fast. You know, it gets violent, shockingly, because I mean,
seems to be a theme with us
right
now.
Right. It starts off kind of fun, but then it just gets dark, real bad.
And where can our friends watch this?
That's on Crunchyroll right now, because it's still airing. So this is one of the more current shows that's on right now. But the only minus about this show is they don't really explain these crests. They haven't explained it yet, because that's how you get people to turn over their lands or become your vassal or something like that. They have these crests that shoot out. They apparently have abilities to stop the chaos that's going on. But they haven't quite explained yet. Not only that, we don't really have an idea of who the antagonist is. I don't know. It's a slow burn. It's a slow burn, but like I said, I'm watching it because even like the last episode played more like a Fire Emblem game than it did the whole, you know, Dungeons and Dragons kind of appeal. So if you like something with a little bit of intrigue and appeal, check that out.
Very nice.
What else you got?
Okay, so mine is actually a throwback, and you know, yes. So
Devilman Crybaby, was
it's from. I actually got back into this because I just finished reading the manga for something totally unrelated, but it's called Emma, a Victorian Romance, and this anime is, and the manga really are for those who. You still want anime, but you don't want any of like the magic, the sci-fi. You just want something just to ease into or just relax to. Nothing spectacular, but yet a moving story. Emma's for you. So basically, Emma, as the title character goes, Emma is a maid, and she meets her, like, because the woman she works for, she used to be a professor or a teacher or something like that. And Emma meets like her former student, and he's middle class. And this is like back in the Victorian era. So we're talking like the 1900s, something like that. Right. So we're talking where, you know, classism was a thing, elitism was a thing. And these two meet, and William is completely swept by Emma. And she is low-key swept by him, but she also realizes that their positioning is she's a maid, he's a middle-class businessman, so it's not going to work kind of thing. Right. So she kind of like keeps her distance, but little by little, he kind of pulls her out of her shell because he's dorky, he's eclectic, and he's really sweet and he's understanding. So he does little things that, you know, he understands her feelings, but he also wants to kind of say, hey, I like you.
I'm here.
Right.
Me.
Yes. And
love me.
Right. And it's just so cute watching them trying to be together in a world where basically, like, even his dad is basically like, you know, maids don't belong in middle class. Even his like younger sister, who's maybe like 10, no, even I think she told Emma off once, saying, you know, you're just this and that because
you can't have no dreams.
Right, you need to stay in your place and all this other stuff. And there's all so it's just a nice romance of just watching, you know, the different eras kind of like playing off, you know, things like that. So if you want something just a casual watch, or you want to show someone that anime isn't all upskirts and magical girls, then Emma's like a good way of like bringing you into the fold.
I just laugh because my last pick is just like total
not even that.
All right, now I wasn't gonna talk about this one, but the funny thing is, like, the more I've talked to a lot of my friends that have been in anime for a while, the more I'm finding out that they've not watched this one yet.
Is this the one I'm thinking you're talking
about? Because this one's like on everybody's list, like it's on my list to watch. So I'm gonna give you guys a reason to watch, okay? So, Saga of Tanya the East.
Yes, I knew it! Because let me tell y'all, he hasn't shut up about this series.
I'm sorry. And you can find it on both Crunchyroll and Funimation if you have both. Only one season in, came out last year. It's a bit of an older to some people, but it's new to a lot of us. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the premise. The premise will mess you up. Dare I say, you can watch the first 2 episodes one of 2 ways. You can go on and watch the first episode in its entirety, or you can watch the second episode first and then start, because the second episode really gives you the setup. It's really the origin story of how Tanya came to be. Because you might watch that first episode, you get all hyped, but like, how did we get here? And then the second episode will tell you.
Yes.
But the premise is this. Oops, sorry about that if the camera shook. So the premise is this. There's this businessman in modern day Japan. Doesn't really have a name or anything, but he lives his life by, law, order, and things have to be done a certain way. And when things or people are not productive, you just gotta get rid of them. Also, he has no faith. We'll get to that in a second. So he's in the process of firing this guy. And the guy is begging to plead for his job because, I have a family, I have bills, I got things to take care of. The guy's like, well, you should have thought of that before you started taking these excessive days off and not being productive, and you gotta go. My job is never easy because, life has a way of doing things, blah, blah, blah. And so that's the fun part about that second episode, is like listening to his rationale for how things are supposed to be done in an orderly fashion. When it sets up to him becoming Tanya, it's just like, So, basically, the guy that he had just fired at the end of that day, he goes to push this dude in front of a train. Literally, when this guy is within inches of his life, God steps in. Yeah. So, basically, this guy is having an argument with God because the whole point is God is telling him, he's like, you know what, it's very hard dealing with people like you that don't have faith. And ordinarily, what I would have done is I would have put you back on the resurrection wheel, but you would be a waste of time because you don't believe. And this dude actually has an argument saying, well, you know what, God, maybe because you have like the wrong business practice or the wrong model setup and you're doing this and you're doing, he is just breaking down, and I'm just
He's telling God what to do?
He's telling God how to do his job and how to do it better. I'm like sitting there.
In his face, though.
Or it could be the devil. There's that. He's telling this divine being, which is being defined for shows being X, how to do its job. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, you're literally about to get smacked by a train. You're inches away from getting smacked by a train. And okay. Have at it. So God's like, you know what? All right. We're gonna do this then. We're gonna do this. So I'm gonna test your faith by putting you, since you don't feel like dude's rationale was because humans have everything done for them. This is why we don't have faith, because everything is done, everything can be fixed, every problem out there can be corrected. Right. Why should we? Right. I was like, have at it then. We're gonna put you in the worst situation possible and see what we can do about that. Smacked by the train. Thus, Tanya is born. Tanya is a girl living in an alternate universe of Germany right at the beginning of World War I. The only difference is within this particular world, some of the children that are born have magic aptitude. So we can kind of sort of get our magic girl. They have magical aptitude, so most of the armies that are fighting have mage core, where they get specially powered weapons. They have crystals and things of that sort. So every chance Being X gets, he messes with this dude purposefully. Like at one time they're testing this new apparatus to help Tanya fly higher and further, and just at that point where it explodes, Being X steps in. It's like, yeah, so how you liking this right now? so you basically saying God is a troll? God trolls this dude throughout this whole series. This is, for any of you that has ever read a Bible or know the story of Job, this is the opposite. Let's set this up. Job believed in God. Right. And the devil told God, well, let me have Adam for a while and I can get him to curse your name. Whereas this time, God is like, you know what, I got this guy that don't believe in me. I'm going to get him to believe. He actually gets this dude to a point where he's like, Tanya, this is what's going to happen. Every time you want to use these abilities, you will invoke my name. If you want these powers to work, you will invoke my name and you will begin to believe that I am the law. No, that's whatever. But yeah.
Let's get the PC collection plate ready, y'all.
So yeah, it's a good series because, like I said, depending on where you stand on your religious beliefs, kind of like depends on where you stand with the show. Because, like I said, I thought it was fun. The premise is interesting. The only thing is, like, we're getting, we're almost done the first season. We're getting to like the back end. It kind of slows down a little bit towards the back end, but I'm sure that before this is over, there will be a reckoning. So yeah, y'all need to check that out. So we're gonna wrap this up. Sorry we ran a little bit longer, but we had so much stuff. And if you're still watching, please hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you're checking us out as well as other videos, because of course we're gonna talk about Godzilla. We're going to talk about some other stuff, sub versus dub, and many other things that are going to be coming along soon enough. Matter of fact, make sure you follow us on the website at popcultureuncovered.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PC Uncovered. And also, if you're watching us through Facebook, make sure you like us. Please like us. We want you to like us. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.